which is buy more from us and sell less to us. That's all he wants, which is India is in a position to do, because our trade deficit with him is only $40 billion or thereabouts, and one can easily buy more oil even if it's a little more expensive. And once the trade deficit comes down to about $10 billion, the tariffs on our products will come down. We will still have a 10% tariff, which he has announced on all countries, but we are in a much better position to negotiate, saying we will buy some more, and thereby, if you give him a commitment that we will bring down the trade deficit to $10 billion or zero by the end of this year, tariffs can come down. We are in a better position. But you must remember that that is not the only reason why the markets are falling. That will make things better for us. Markets are falling because we are not only selling to the US, we are selling to the...
Hello and a very warm welcome. Thanks for tuning into CNN News 18. You're watching Nation at 5 with me, Prithvi Walia. Viewers, first up, let's start with the big story. And it's a story that is not just being spoken of here in India, but across the world. What we're seeing is the change in the market trend. And this is a drastic change. All of this in the wake of the reciprocal tariffs that have been announced by President Donald Trump. Now, Indian markets also, given that announcement, took a major hit with fears of a global trade war growing. Now, President Donald Trump, through the weekend, as against what was being speculated, has not made any further announcements. He's not moved back on the reciprocal tariffs announced by him, and this has led to the Sensex, Nifty also crashing. A market rout on Wall Street, other major Asian markets like Japan, Singapore and China also feeling the heat. That's the market sentiment that's what the market sentiment overall has been like. Amongst the worst hit shares were, of course, those of IT companies. But all of this, like I said, has happened after the nosediving. All of this has been nosediving since Donald Trump announced tariffs on all trade partners of the United States. Let's not forget, one of the biggest implications of that has been the reciprocal that has now been announced by China. China has also retaliated with equal force. Amidst this, another update that's come in from the government. This is a big announcement which is once again being viewed very closely by the consumers in the country. Excise duty on petrol and diesel has also been increased by 2 rupees per litre, though there's been no impact on consumers, and that's been confirmed by the central government. We've seen a detailed statement on part of the Petroleum and Natural Gas Ministry. But this is a 2 rupee per litre hike that we're seeing. Petrol and diesel prices set to rise as the government has hiked excise duty on both the fuels by 2 rupees per litre. Like I said, this comes at a time when global crude oil prices are on a downward trend, driven by fears of global trade war sparked by the US administration's reciprocal tariff. So here in India, this is the big announcement that we're tracking after having very closely followed the market trend, a downward trend all through today. Reactions coming in, reports we're tracking from CNN International as well. Take a look.
Pain in the market. At some point, you're unwilling to tolerate this idea of a Trump put. Is there a threshold?
I think your question is so stupid. I think it's I don't want anything to go down, but sometimes you have to take medicine to fix something.
There is panic selling, you will have to say, because there has been selling across the globe. Europe has opened about 6% lower. What you call US futures, Dow futures, Nasdaq futures, they are opening over 1,000 points lower. So there is no hope that the last of the selling globally is over, which is why you're seeing, redoubled selling in India as well. The other reason why we are seeing selling in India is that we will be impacted if the world grows more slowly. While we are definitely negotiating with the US and our problem is smaller, we have a trade deficit of just about $40 billion. And if we buy a little more oil or guns from the US, we will bridge that deficit. But the point is our exports to other countries will also fall because globally there is expected to be a slowdown since everyone's exports are getting impacted. There is also uncertainty. When you don't know where to invest because you don't know who will be hit by tariffs, global investment comes down and that brings down global earnings and global economic growth. So that explains why you're seeing a consistent fall in Indian markets as well, our consolation is we are falling less than almost any other country, fallen less than our Asian competitors, fallen less than developed markets, and that's because our problem is slightly smaller in terms of exposure to the US, and we are a large domestic economy. Our dependence on US exports is just 2% of the GDP. So we stand out, but we have to fall with the rest of the world. Today, practically everything has fallen. Small caps are the worst, but large caps also have fallen, all sectors. Only those that are more domestically facing have fallen a little less, like, consumer stocks like HUL or something, but largely all stocks have fallen.
Liberation Day is an apt name for Donald Trump's policy to impose massive new tariffs across the world. His view of the United States is of a victimized colony taken advantage of by other countries that have robbed it of jobs, industries, and money. This week, when announcing his tariff plans, he said this.
Our country and its taxpayers have been ripped off for more than 50 years.
Trump's acolytes like J.D. Vance and Howard Lutnick parrot this view, painting a picture of a hollowed-out country with empty factories, unemployed workers, and stagnant wages. The reality is the opposite, and it is only because it is the opposite, in other words, because of America's unrivaled economic power, that Trump can even attempt his tariff policy. It is U.S. economic heft that allows him to try to force the rest of the world to bend to his will. But Trump is using American power in such a capricious, destructive, dumb way that it will almost certainly result in a lose-lose for everyone. The real economic story of the last 3 decades is that the United States has surged ahead of all its major competitors. In 2008, the U.S. economy was about the same size as the Eurozone. By 2023, it was nearly twice that size. U.S. average wages were about 20% greater than the average of the advanced industrial world in 1990. They are now around 40% higher. The average Japanese person was 50% richer than an American in 1995 in terms of GDP per capita. Today, an American is about 150% richer than a Japanese person. In fact, the poorest American state, Mississippi, has a higher per capita GDP than Britain or France or Japan. And yet, Donald Trump has been convinced that all these decades, as America has moved ahead, it is actually in steep decline. His worldview seems to have been set in the 1960s, when in his memory, America was a great manufacturing power. Another piece of that antique worldview is an overestimation of Moscow's power, which in his mind apparently remains a towering economic player on the world stage with whom he can do many important deals. Russia, bizarrely, has been excluded from any new tariffs.
CNN News 18's Pallavi Ghosh joins us with more details. Pallavi, two important details that I seek from you this evening. One is, of course, the government's approach to how the market is responding, not just in Asia and India, across the world. We're seeing a spiraling effect of Donald Trump's harsh tariffs slowly being felt across the world. What's the government's approach to that? And also the downward trend as far as crude oil price is concerned, given that an excise duty hike is being seen both on petrol and diesel. Tell us a little bit about the clarification that's coming from the Natural Gas and Petroleum Ministry on the same.
To your second question first, the government has made it very clear that there may have been an increase in the crude oil prices, but its pressure is not being passed on to the consumer. So the only increase we are seeing is only of 50 rupees as far as the LPG is concerned, because we also depend for 60% of LPG supplies on our imports. So as far as the oil prices are concerned, the government has given that reassurance to the consumers that it's not going to be passing on to you. But on the other hand, if you ask me to answer your first question, well, yes, I mean, obviously there's a degree of uncertainty as far as our stock markets are concerned. It was reflected in the Nifties. It was early this morning. There is an apprehension that this is something which can be repeated tomorrow as well, when the US markets also can see red. But what government sources are telling us is that on this we can't do pretty much. we are going to try and control the situation. At the most, what the government can do is sending reassurances to our exporters, to our corporate sector, that we are engaged in an active engagement with America, and we do expect that in a couple of weeks or at least in a couple of months, there would be a review and there would be a revision which should be working for us. The second important thing is that we are looking at beyond America. We are looking at alternatives of doing business, whether it's Mexico, Canada, and that also gives hope to our economy. And third, of course, is that active engagement, as I was talking about. And third, of course, is the fact that we are also having alternatives as far as Mexico and Cambodia is concerned, and Canada is concerned, where we can increase our exports. But at the end of the day, at 26%, the Indian government is making it very clear it's not as alarming or as bad as we thought it would be.
Okay, many thanks, Pallavi, for getting us that quick update. Going across to Siddhant Mishra as well. Siddhant, it's important to understand how the government is taking this forward point by point. They have indirectly conveyed that this is going to be a phased process, that expect no urgent steps, expect no drastic measures. It's going to be conversations over a period of time. But that said, the impact of the reciprocal tariffs by the United States is being felt worldwide. What's the immediate or the interim plan in place by the government?
Well, there has been a bloodbath in the stock markets. In fact, that is what something which was on the cards. And yes, there have been a control room set up by the Indian government. In fact, Indian side is still doing the assessment of the damage or perhaps the impact of Trump tariffs. In fact, there have been many such signals which have come from the Indian side, perhaps trying to build a positive atmosphere, saying that India is better placed than other countries. The reciprocal tariffs on India is less than the many competitors of India in the region. Perhaps countries like China and others have been worstly impacted. In fact, China is exploring markets and export through Europe, etc., etc. So those things have already been reported. But right now, definitely, it's a very, very critical time for any country and for global economy worldwide, because it will have implications, it will have ramifications, and perhaps one government needs to be ready for it. What India is doing is the diversification. Perhaps that has been on the agenda since Donald Trump came to office, to diversify markets for Indian products. Second, which India is banking upon right now, is Prime Minister Modi's personal equation with President Trump. Third, when India says that they are discussing non-tariff barriers and supply chain resilience, perhaps that those two components are in India's favor. Because if non-tariff barriers would be removed, which are like sanctions and quotas, perhaps then Indian products will get more access to the US market. And the second is supply chain resilience. India also wants to remind US the strategic importance of India in these times. Perhaps the whole Indo-Pacific theater coming up, and if India is seen as a country which could contain China in the Indo-Pacific, yes, perhaps India needs to be given some concessions, some discounts. Perhaps that is also one component, one point on which India is perhaps countering and perhaps keep forward during discussion with the United States. But it looks like Donald Trump is adamant. In fact, he has come up with a post also saying that there is no recession, oil prices are down, interest rates are down. All he's blaming China for the disturbance in the markets. And
okay, very interesting you say that. So let's put out those details. Siddhant, stay on with us. Let's break down all of those details for our viewers. The latest comment that's coming from Donald Trump, he's taken to social media X. Market experts, though, have downplayed concerns being raised by investors here in India. They say in the long-term scenario, there's not much that India needs to be scared of or worried about. But speaking about Donald Trump, he's taken to social media. He's attempted to once again allay fears over the manner in which the market has been responding, about the market meltdown. He has said that oil prices are down, there is no inflation, adding that US is bringing back billions a week from nations who have ripped the United States off. So this is once again Donald Trump saying, despite the fact that the biggest abuser of them, China, whose markets are crashing, just raised its tariffs by 34% on top of its long-term ridiculously high tariffs, not acknowledging my warning for abusing countries not to retaliate. Going across to Siddhant on that note, Siddhant, once again, China back at it, taking the enemy number one tag home. this is a back and forth between China and US. The fear here is that this could spill into a larger global trade war. That's the fear of the other partners, trading partners concerned. But do help us understand and put this entire reaction by the President of the United States in perspective for us.
Well, look, Donald Trump is under a lot of pressure because there are protests going on in United States, perhaps against Donald Trump's policy, because many of the economists in United States have predicted that this tariff war could lead United States into recession. And it is very important for Donald Trump to keep the momentum going, also to perhaps build a very positive atmosphere around this tariff war, which has been started by him. So, in fact, today on board Air Force One, while speaking to journalists also, in fact, one journalist, when asked him about the ramifications of this tariff, he called it a stupid question. Perhaps, again, on the social media post, he is very clear that all prices are down, interest rates are down, food prices are down, there is no inflation, and the long time abused USA is bringing in billions and billions of dollars a week from the abusing countries on tariff. Perhaps again telling this to Americans that this is in America's favor, and we are not in recession, and whatever is happening in America's favor. And also, directly hitting at China and saying that China's markets are crashing, just raise its tariff by 34% on top of its long-term ridiculous high tariff, plus not acknowledging the warning for abusing countries not to retaliate. Perhaps China has been worstly affected. The highest tariff imposed by USA is on China. So it is also like opening a direct war with China, economic war with China. And that is exactly what Trump has been signaling from day one in office. So now, on one end, where he also wants to keep his popularity intact, also wants to create a narrative in favor of him around this entire tariff debate. He is also blaming China, how China has abused American markets for years, and how now their markets are crashing, Chinese markets are crashing because of the tariff that Trump has imposed.
He's looking at the picture that's slowly unfolding in China. What he's perhaps failing to understand is how this could have far-reaching consequences for United States and its economy, and several experts have already pointed that out in as many words. Many thanks, Siddhant, for getting us all those details. We'll keep coming back to it. It's a story that's not going to die down anytime soon. But shifting our attention now, viewers, to Mysuru. We're shifting our focus to visuals that have just come in from the state. This is part of the Bharatiya Janata Party's planned the Jan Akrosh rally by the BJP, which has already commenced. So we quickly put out those visuals that you see on your screens of the BJP's rally. Visuals coming in from Mysuru as we speak. And you can make out the BJP leaders who are participating. This is Karnataka BJP launching a 16-day Jan Akrosh Yatra to protest against the state government's policies. They're focusing on some of the issues such as price hike of essential commodities, reservation for Muslims in government tenders below 2 crore rupees. There are also allegations of misgovernance that they are attempting to rake. BJP's 4-phase Jan Akrosh Yatra has commenced in Mysuru, and the leaders that you see on your screens are Union Minister Prahlad Joshi launching this rally. There's also Karnataka BJP Chief B.Y. Vijendra who is in attendance. LOPs are Ashok, Chalwadi, Narayanasamy, hundreds of BJP workers participating in this protest march. The Bharatiya Janata Party had already spoken of its plans of the Jan Akrosh Yatra, and I just highlighted the host of issues that the BJP is attempting to raise through this yatra. I want to go across to Sudat Bhardwaj, who joins us with more details. We've known about the BJP's plan to launch this campaign. It's a four-phase campaign. Sudat, if you could take us through BJP's plan in a detailed manner.
Well, the BJP's 4th-phase protest is very much on similar lines with the one that was held a few months ago with regards to the Waqf. They plan to, cash in on the sentiment of the people. They plan to raise awareness amongst the people, for the claims that the BJP makes. It says that the people of Karnataka are fed up with the continuous price hikes that people are seeing, and the spate of price hikes is in fact a reflection of the government being indifferent to the needs of the people, the welfare of the people. These are the allegations that the BJP BJP makes, and perhaps yes, there is a lot of complaint amongst people that prices are continuously increasing day by day. So the BJP wants to cash in on that sentiment. So that's why 4-phase protests have in fact just started right now from Mysuru. They will end in Ramnagara on May 3rd. So this is a 16-day long awareness rally that they plan to hold statewide across 16 districts, across various districts of Karnataka. They plan to hold these rallies, hold these protest marches, and educate the people, or rather cash in on the sentiment that price rises are burdening the common man. And this is not just with regards to price rise, there is also the matter of the KTPP bill, which proposes 4% reservation for minorities in civil contract works. The BJP says, of course, that this is appeasement politics at play, and the other issues are also being taken into regard in this. They are also alleging that, of course, the SC/ST funds are being misused for the guarantee. So various issues really that the BJP is raking up through the course of the Jan Akrosh Yatra.
Okay, so that what I also want to understand from you, it's an observation on the sidelines. While this could be part of the Bharatiya Janata Party's plan, key ally JDS is seen missing in action. Do we know why? Why is it that their key ally in the state, who've more often than not agreed to at least the criticism that the BJP has had for the Congress, are not in attendance?
Well, what we hear is that the JDS wants to hold a separate protest as well, keeping in mind their future, the party's own future from their own independent viewpoint, keeping in mind their future. That is why they plan to hold separate protests, separate awareness rallies. And, many times BJP leaders have said that, yes, this alliance is for the elections, but with regards to protests, the parties within this alliance, the BJP-JDS alliance, are free to carry out their own protests. And where necessary, they will actually come forward, like in the case of the Padyatra that was held in the early part of the Muda storm in Karnataka, where there was actually a Padyatra foot march towards Mysuru. That is when the BJP and JDS participated together. So what we hear is that for protests at least, there's not going to always be coordination between these two parties. But yes, this does definitely raise a few questions about why exactly the BJP and JDS aren't exactly in cahoots with each other, or rather not working with each other, especially when dealing with issues like price rise, which is causing a lot of concern for the common man.
Okay, so that do we also know about the whole idea or the concept of a 4-phase yatra? Why is it that the Bharatiya Janata Party is going to be taking this out in different phases? What's the reasoning here?
Well, simply given that in each phase they will be covering, of course, 1 week. Each phase is worth around 1 week's time, and we're going to take a small break after each week, of course. So that is why there's a small break after each phase. That is why it is in a 4-phase protest. So each week they are going to cover various districts, and this is going to be largely for 5 days. Each phase is going to cover 5 to 6 days, and accordingly they are going to cover all the districts across Karnataka, and it is going to end on May 3rd. So yes, this is why they have planned it across phases. They want to ensure that they cover all the districts in Karnataka and raise the sentiments among the people, raise awareness amongst people about why exactly the Congress is a burden, given that the BJP has continually said that the Congress government in Karnataka is a curse.
Okay, so stay on with us. That's as far as the BJP's plan in Karnataka is concerned. But we need to shift our attention to another story that we're tracking from the state. And this comes at a very interesting time because students in Telangana have been raising concerns around the state government's attempt to develop a certain area of land in the state. The state government, remember, had spoken of a development project. A similar story has now emerged from Karnataka, and this is with regards to the Skydeck project. It's come under scan after the BBMP sought 25 acres of land last month from the biodiversity-rich Janabharti campus of the Bengaluru University. So it's quite similar to what we saw in Telangana just a few days ago. This is a 250-meter tall Skydeck, a pet project of Deputy Chief Minister D.K. Shivkumar, and it's been cleared by the Karnataka cabinet already. This happened in August last year. Its estimated cost is about 500 crore rupees, and the idea is that this will give a boost to tourism in the state. Now, as on expected lines, there's a lot of criticism that's come in from some of the professors of the university as well, students who've raised concerns about the usage of the land for other purposes, as the university owns just about 700 to 800 acres of land now, as opposed to the 1200 acres that they owned during its inception. So there are a couple of reasonings being cited by all those who are coming out in criticism of this move, of this project. Like I said, it's a pet project of Deputy Chief Minister D.K. Shivkumar. We first up listening to all the reactions.
Government has given land to the Bengaluru University to develop its own infrastructure for the professors, for the students, to do research, to train the students, to build hostels and lot of training and entrepreneurial activities. So year by year, the private organization and other organizations are taking away the Bengaluru University land. It's a very wrong thing. So whatever the land allotted to the Bengaluru University, not even 1 inch of the land should be given to others. It is purely for the academic purpose and it has to be retained with the Bengaluru University.
See, as far as this letter from BBMP is concerned, I'm not aware about the letter. There was a discussion with regard to this when we went for a foundation laying ceremony in Bengaluru University, where our Deputy Chief Minister, Mr. D.K. Shivkumar, mentioned about it. But I mentioned to him that this place cannot be used for non-academic purposes. But he said there was a request from Bengaluru University as to reduce the congestion in the Bengaluru University. I expressed my concern saying that there could be a lot of resistance because this place cannot be used for non-academic purpose.
Siddharth Bhardwaj continues to stay on with us. Siddharth, do tell us about the opposition coming in from those critiquing this project, the Skydeck project. It's been cleared by the cabinet already. The whole idea was of Deputy Chief Minister D.K. Shivkumar. The contention here is about the land earlier belonging to the university, the Jajjan University, or are there concerns similar to ones which were raised by students in Telangana?
And there are several points of concern that are actually here. Last year when the Skydeck project was actually cleared by the Karnataka cabinet in August, there were already a lot of concerns about why exactly this is necessary, that Bengaluru's infrastructure should be given more focus and not such tourism projects. But right now, after several locations that are actually discussed alongside Bengaluru's outskirts, right now they have zeroed in on the Gyan Bharati campus here in Bengaluru University, and that is why the BBMP has in fact sought 25 acres of land. And even though this is not at the same scale of the 400 acres that we see in Gachibowli, this is definitely a cause of concern given that Bengaluru University has lost well over 300 to 400 acres of land, because originally it had 1,200 acres at its inception, and a lot of amount of land has gone to other institutes like the National Institute of Sports, to the National Law School of India University campus, and to various other research purposes as well. And this is perhaps the first time that is really going towards a proper non-academic reason, and that is why a lot of concerns are being raised. They believe that eating more into the land's biodiversity-rich campus is not good. And not only that, they are also raising concerns that building such a tourism project here or something related to non-academic reasons will disturb the atmosphere of the entire university and perhaps not help the cause. So there are also some professors raising concerns that the university should focus more on actually making it an academic hub and not focusing on giving away land for non-academic reasons. So really a lot of concerns that are actually being raised here. The Higher Education Minister MC Sudhakar seems a rather a little diplomatic in his response. He says that they will take everything into consideration and mull over what can possibly be done. But yes, Karnataka government is definitely aware and wary of the fact that they will invite a lot of wrath in case they do proceed with this Skydeck project to be built here.
Oh yes, absolutely. Like you rightly pointed out, Higher Education Minister has come out with a very diplomatic response. Thank you, Siddharth, for joining us with all those details. The Bharatiya Janata Party has also come out to echo some of these concerns that have been raised by the students and the university professors. Listen in.
In Karnataka, whatever happened in Hyderabad is trying to be happening in Karnataka. We have seen in Hyderabad the 400 acres of the university land was trying to be grabbed by the Telangana Congress government. Now in Karnataka, in Jnana Bharati campus of Bengaluru University, government of Karnataka has said that please give up your land for tourism development. How right it is? Bengaluru University land should be used for educational purpose. The government of Karnataka, which wants to grab the land and utilize this land for their own benefit, for the income of some people who want to do a scam in the name of the land.
It's very unfortunate that BBMP, perhaps through the directive of the government, has proposed this program to the university, because you see, basically the universities are meant for higher education, teaching, but unfortunately, of late, this kind of proposals that are emerging during different tenures of different vice chancellors is unfortunate. As you said, the Bengaluru University campus, which was over 1,000 plus acres, now has already lost quite a bit of land. So the government should focus on improving such things rather than going for this kind of establishing amusement park and things like that. So once it is done, the whole serene environment of Jnana Bharati campus will be drastically affected.
For now, let's shift our attention to more news coming in from Karnataka. And this is a controversial remark that has come in from State Home Minister G. Parameshwara. He has, in response to queries being asked about the latest molestation case that has surfaced from Bengaluru, he says these kind of incidents can happen here and there in these big cities. So the fact that this is an insensitive remark coming in from the Home Minister of the state has drawn a lot of flack, a lot of criticism coming G. Parameshwara's way. The Bharatiya Janata Party also wading in, not just raising questions over the law and order situation, but also the manner in which not too long ago it was Chief Minister Siddaramaiah who had once again downplayed these kind of safety concerns for women in the state when he said that don't these rapes happen or did happen under the BJP tenure, and now comes yet another controversial remark by the State Home Minister. The police in this case have registered an FIR already, though police sources say they're yet to ascertain the identity of the accused or the number of vehicle that he later fled on. And the incident, viewers, is from the 3rd of April that you see on the left side of your screens. That's also been captured in this CCTV footage, and that's exactly what makes this remark all the more controversial, given that the arrest of the main accused hasn't taken place, and this is how the state government is ducking responsibility. Let's listen into what exactly was said by G. Parameshwara.
ನಮ್ಮ ಕಮಿಷನರ್ಗೆ ಪ್ರತಿನಿತ್ಯ ನಾವು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತೇನೆ, ಎಚ್ಚರಿಕೆಯಿಂದ ಇರಬೇಕು, ಬೀಟ್ಗಳು ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಆಗಬೇಕು, ಮಾನಿಟರ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಬೆಂಗಳೂರು ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದು ಏರಿಯಾ ಕೂಡ ಪೊಲೀಸ್ ಪೆಟ್ರೋಲಿಂಗ್ ಏನಾಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಅದನ್ನ ಬಹಳ ಶಿಸ್ತಿನಿಂದ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಮತ್ತು ಬಹಳ ಎಫೆಕ್ಟಿವ್ ಆಗಿ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತೇಳಿ ದಿನನಿತ್ಯ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತೀವಿ. ಇಲ್ಲೊಂದು ಘಟನೆ ಆದಾಗ ಸ್ವಾಭಾವಿಕವಾಗಿ ಜನರ ಇದರಿಗೆ ಗಮನವನ್ನ ಸೆಳೆಯುತ್ತೆ. ಆದರೆ ಅಷ್ಟಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವು ಬಿಟ್ಬಿಡೋದಿಲ್ಲಲ್ಲ. ನಿರಂತರವಾಗಿ ಪೊಲೀಸ್ ಇಲಾಖೆ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. 24/7 ಮಳೆ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಚಳಿ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಪೊಲೀಸ್ನವರು ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಬೆಂಗಳೂರು ಶಾಂತಿ ಇದೆ. ಇಲ್ಲೊಂದು ಘಟನೆ, ಇಷ್ಟು ದೊಡ್ಡ ಪಟ್ಟಣದಲ್ಲಿ ಘಟನೆ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಅದನ್ನ ನಾವು ಏನ್ ಕ್ರಮ ತಗೋಬೇಕು ಕಾನೂನು ಪ್ರಕಾರ ತಗೊಳ್ತೇವೆ. ಬೀಟ್ ವ್ಯವಸ್ಥೆನೂ ಇನ್ನೂ ಕೂಡ ಹೆಚ್ಚಿನ ಪರಿಣಾಮಕಾರಿಯಾಗಿ ಮಾಡಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಇವತ್ತು ಬೆಳಿಗ್ಗೆನೂ ಕೂಡ ನಾನು ನಮ್ಮ ಕಮಿಷನರ್ಗೆ ಸೂಚನೆ ಕೊಟ್ಟು ಕಳಿಸಿದ್ದೇನೆ.
कर्नाटका पुलिस अक्यूज को पकड़ नहीं पाई है, परंतु गंभीरता दिखाने के बदले, सख्ती दिखाने के बदले कर्नाटका के होम मिनिस्टर का बयान आता है मानो कि वो इस अक्यूज के साथ खड़े हैं, मानो कि वो इस मोलेस्टर के साथ खड़े हैं. कर्नाटका के होम मिनिस्टर कहते हैं कि बड़े शहरों में ऐसी छोटी मोटी घटनाएं हो जाती. इन द बिग सिटीज लाइक बेंगलुरु सच स्मॉल इंसिडेंट्स टेक प्लेस. This is the हुआ तो हुआ mindset of the Karnataka Congress and the Congress party in general. कर्नाटका कांग्रेस के लिए और उनके नेताओं के लिए एक महिला की इज्जत पर, आबरू पर इस प्रकार से प्रहार होना ये एक छोटी घटना है. मानो ये अगर उस काल में रहते तो कहते कि द्रौपदी जी के साथ भी जो हुआ वो छोटी घटना थी, उस पर तो महाभारत हो गया था।
Going across to Siddharth once again. Siddharth, given that though the police have registered a case in the molestation incident that's come to light, goes back to the 3rd of April, but the accused identity has not been ascertained. Is this being seen widely by people, the masses, politicians, political rivals of the Congress as an attempt to downplay the seriousness or the lack of any concrete action being taken by the state police?
Well, the BJP has, of course, always maintained that law and order is not maintained well in Karnataka at all, and that the Home Minister G. Parmeshwar is inefficient. They have said that the police are not given a free rein to actually ensure that the justice is delivered at the right time. So, this just adds to, this just comes as a fodder to the opposition as well. A lot of netizens too have raised concerns about how exactly the city is no longer safe. They maintain that, traveling at odd hours, if necessary, can sometimes become an extreme risk. So, yes, the accused is still at large. The police are yet to ascertain the identity of the accused or on which vehicle he actually fled on. They have, in fact, called in forensic experts and artists to, examine the CCTV footage and reconstruct the face of the accused. So we have to see when actually they can achieve that, given that, this not only is, a delay, but it also poses a risk to other people in case the accused is still on the prowl in other areas of the city. So this is definitely a cause of concern. So, and definitely at such a time when the Home Minister says that such sporadic incidents do happen in large cities like these, while there might be a certain degree of truth given that such crimes do exist and are prevalent across cities, Home Minister saying that on air will definitely not reflect well on the part of the government and is definite fodder for the opposition to further attack the law and order situation in Karnataka. So perhaps little to defend for the Congress government right now.
Oh yes, absolutely. And it's far from actually giving an assurance to the women of the state who most certainly are scarred by these kind of repeated incidents making the headlines. Thank you so much, Siddharth, for joining us with that quick update. Heading into a short break, we'll be right back with lots more. Stay tuned. You're watching Nation at 5.
Geopolitical changes are bringing a shift
in global equations.
और इस बदलाव में उभर रहा है
एक बुलंद भारत,
riding the wave of youthful aspirations,
defining a new standard of growth and innovation.
और कैसी होगी ये बदलाव की लहर?
Know straight from the experts, the policymakers, world leaders,
and industry titans.
जो करेंगे चर्चा इस नए वर्ल्ड ऑर्डर
और बदलाव की लहर की. At the Rising Bharat Summit,
the biggest convergence of leaders and trendsetters. On 8th and 9th April at Bharat Mandapam, New Delhi. Register now.
ये है मिस्टर
China, 67%. European Union, 39%. Vietnam, 90%. India, very, very tough. Very, very tough. They charge us 52%.
Well, at the moment, the market is reacting to the fact that there was no ameliorative or softer statement from the US or from President Trump over the weekend. On Thursday and Friday, the US markets fell over 10%. The Nasdaq is in bear territory, which means 20% off its highs. When an index falls over 20%, you call it bear territory. The expectation was that after seeing such a fall, which has happened only 3 times before in recent history, during COVID and during the 2008 Lehman crisis, if he doesn't respond to that, then is he likely to not pull back at all? That is the sentiment to which the Asian markets are reacting now. In addition, of course, there is the Chinese retaliation as well. So the markets here are reacting to the fact that there is no ameliorative statement. We will still have to wait and see. An ameliorative statement from the US president to any of the countries can still pull back the market somewhat. What the market is worried if there is a retaliatory statement even from the EU, then it's a global, trade war. China has already called the war. So that's what the market is confused about. It was expected that that big crash was the worst, but that didn't happen. It looks like there will be even worse in terms of Trump holding back ready to take the immediate pain. His statement was that, some medicine is needed. That's the market's worry, really. It is going to get worse before it gets better. That's the first worry. The second worry is, even when it gets better, the world is going to grow much more slowly than what was expected before the Trump presidency. We are reacting to that. So even when we correct, we are not going to correct back to the previous levels because there is a global slowdown. Actually, only the developed countries and China who have retaliated. They are in a slightly stronger position than India is, than developing countries are. And so those are the two blocks that have retaliated. The rest of them are willing to come to any concessions. To be fair, even Canada is willing to come to concessions. But the Indian position relative to this issue is very strong. Our trade deficit, the important point is Trump is not going by your tariff levels. You can have 100-200% tariffs for all he cares, but don't have a trade deficit with my country, which is buy more from us and sell less to us. That's all he wants, which is India is in a position to do, because our trade deficit with him is only $40 billion or thereabouts, and one can easily buy more oil even if it's a little more expensive. And once the trade deficit comes down to about $10 billion, the tariffs on our products will come.
Welcome back. You're watching Nation at 5 on to news. We're tracking from West Bengal. Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee has declared unwavering support for over 25,000 teachers who lost their job after the Supreme Court verdict. Now, do remember, all this goes back to the teachers' recruitment scam, and we've seen a legal battle ongoing the last so many years around the same. But Mamata Banerjee says she's going to stand by those teachers and she's ready to go to jail to stand by them. She spoke at a meeting with the affected candidates and the school staff. She assured the state government would ensure continuity of employment for those who are eligible. Now, do remember, like I said, all this comes after the Supreme Court delivered a verdict that upheld the Calcutta High Court's 2022 order to cancel the recruitment of over 25,000 teaching and non-teaching staff in state-run and aided schools. An interesting comment is coming from the BJP as well. The BJP has gunned for Mamata Banerjee while citing her move to shield all of these teachers and promise them employment. The Bharatiya Janata Party has in fact asked the number of Muslim teachers who got job appointments from West Bengal School Services Commission in 2016 and also accused the TMC of favouring a select few. But first up, let's listen into the assurance that came in from Mamata Banerjee earlier today.
সুপ্রিম কোর্ট বলেনি কে যোগ্য কে অযোগ্য, তালিকা দেয়নি। সরকারকে যোগ্য ও অযোগ্যদের আলাদা করার সুযোগ আদালত দেয়নি। ফ্যাক্ট ফাইন্ডিং এর অনুমতিও দেয়নি। সিবিআই যা যা কাগজপত্র চেয়েছিল তদন্ত করার জন্য এসএসসি সব কাগজপত্র তাদের দিয়ে সাহায্য করেছিল। আমরা লয়ার কাদের দিয়েছিলাম শুনে রাখুন, অভিষেক মনু সিংভি ছাত্রদের হয়ে লড়েছে। যাই হোক, তোমাদের সাপোর্ট দিয়েছি আমরা, হেল্পিং হ্যান্ডস। মনে রাখবেন, আমায় যদি কেউ চ্যালেঞ্জ করে, আমি কিন্তু চ্যালেঞ্জটাকে মোকাবিলা করতে জানি। আমি কোর্টকে বলছি না, এটা কোর্টের দোষ নয়, দোষ তো সেই মুখ আর মুখোশদের যারা আপনাদের নিয়ে খেলা করেছে। বাট আমি একটা কথা বলতে চাই, আমি বেঁচে থাকাকালীন যোগ্য প্রার্থীদের কারো চাকরি কেড়ে নিতে দেব না। ইট ইজ মাই কমিটমেন্ট।
700 करोड़ रुपया उठाया। देखा दीजिए टीएमसी का सब लीडर लोग का, सब लीडर एमएलए लोग को चाकरी दे दिया, सब बेच दिया चाकरी। 700 करोड़ रिश्वत आपने भतीजा उठाया।
My colleague Kamalika Sengupta joins us with more details. Kamalika, do tell us about the Bharatiya Janata Party's criticism. Earlier today, we also saw them march towards the Chief Minister's Kalighat residence, but they have been levelling a different set of allegations while citing the Chief Minister's support for all of these teachers who've lost their job.
Can you please repeat your question?
No, Kamalika, just trying to understand the BJP's line of attack here.
See, the BJP is saying that you are saying that it is a conspiracy. But the point is that this entire corruption has taken place in the Trinamool government system. If that is so, then how can you say that it is a conspiracy? There where it is, the court has clearly said that the entire process has been, there is a portion that has been there has been corruption in it. So that has to be accepted. That's what the BJP point is, and the BJP is going to protest on this. They are going to continue this protest. Teaching some organization, teachers organization, they will be actually. They have planned for a gherao of the Nabanno, which is the state secretariat on 21st April, and here the BJP has said that the BJP is going to give support to them.
Okay, all right. Now, as far as Mamata Banerjee's support to all of those teachers who've lost their job after the Supreme Court verdict is concerned, how is Mamata Banerjee planning to go about it? She has spoken of some of the legal options she's going to weigh in on, but she's clearly undermining the judiciary's understanding of the entire case and saying that she's going to fight it out no matter what.
The point is, Mamata Banerjee politically will fight it on the lines that this is a conspiracy, which is clear that twice she has spoken on this, and both the times she has said that this is a conspiracy. On the other hand, she has weighed the legal angles too, and she is seeing the legalities, and obviously she has said that she will seek a clarification from Supreme Court.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Kamalika, for joining us with all those details. Let's, with that, quickly shift our attention to another story we're tracking from Madhya Pradesh. This is a medical fraud that has come to light. A person impersonating as a doctor, and he's been caught now. So investigations have begun on that front. But this is a mega scam that has come to light. This is Dr. John Cram, who performed fatal heart surgeries at a missionary hospital. 7 patients as a result of this are reported to have died. District officials are probing this man who posed as a renowned British cardiologist. All of this, viewers, has happened in Madhya Pradesh's Damoh. The accused, Narendra Vikramaditya Yadav, allegedly used forged documents to impersonate the UK-based doctor. The real doctor, though, even warned about the imposter on social media. I'm talking about Dr. John Cam. He's now under the scanner for earlier cases as well, including one in Hyderabad. Officials have also seized hospital records and investigations are underway. The Madhya Pradesh government has also taken cognizance of the case. Chief Minister Mohan Yadav has directed Health Department to take strictest of action in cases like these across the state. Let's quickly first up play out the version as has been shared by one of the complainants in the case. Listen in.
FIR CMHO साहब ने की है, उसमें जिन लोगों को आरोपी बनाना चाहिए तो उनको आरोपी नहीं बनाया, केवल और केवल डिग्री फर्जी होने की वो शिकायत की गई है CMHO के द्वारा जो FIR की गई है, जबकि इसमें 7 हत्या का कोई हवाला नहीं, कोई जिक्र नहीं। इसके अलावा प्रबंधन समिति और अस्पताल के संचालक डॉक्टर रजयलाल, उनका कहीं कोई उल्लेख नहीं। मतलब इतने सारे लोग जो इसमें इन्वॉल्वमेंट हैं, दोषी हैं, और नोडल अधिकारी दिलीप खरे हैं, संजीव लैम्बर्ट हैं, पुष्पा खरे हैं, विजय लैम्बर्ट हैं, ये सारे लोग इसमें इन्वॉल्व हैं। जो आयुष्मान वाला खेल चल रहा है, लाखों रुपए ने वसूले हैं शासन से चूना लगा के, इस सब का खेल कहाँ, कोई FIR में कोई जिक्र ही नहीं इन सब चीजों का। भाई कहीं ना कहीं इनकी आरोपी गणों से मिली भगत है।
थाना कोतवाली पर जो है अभी FIR पंजीबद्ध हुई, जिसमें मिशन हॉस्पिटल में कार्यरत डॉक्टर एन जॉन केम के अगेंस्ट में जो है धोखाधड़ी और कूटरचित दस्तावेज प्रस्तुत कर जो है मामला पंजीबद्ध इनके विरुद्ध किया गया है। और इसमें हेल्थ डिपार्टमेंट CMHO साहब की तरफ से हमारे पास प्रतिवेदन आया था कि डॉक्टर नरेंद्र जॉन केम जो है वो फर्जी तरीके से एंजियोग्राफी और एंजियोप्लास्टी करते हुए जो उन्होंने सेवाएं दी। डॉक्टर नरेंद्र जॉन केम के मेडिकल के जो डॉक्यूमेंट्स हैं वो संदेहास्पद पाए गए थे, जिनकी जांच जो है वो डॉक्टर्स की टीम ने की है। और डॉक्यूमेंट्स संदेहास्पद पाए जाने के उपरांत जो है उनके अगेंस्ट में FIR जो है वो लॉन्च की गई।
जो भी घटना सबकी जानकारी में है, हमारी सरकार उसके ऊपर कठोर कार्रवाई कर रही है। और ये हमारी सरकार का भारत सरकार के साथ लगातार इस प्रकार की व्यवस्थाओं में आपने देखा होगा कि हमने हर एक वो कमियां या गलतियां या छिपी हुई बातें जिससे कहीं कोई चूक हो रही, उससे तुरंत त्वरित एक्शन की है और उसी का परिणाम है कि बड़ी से बड़ी कोई भी ऐसी बात होगी तो हमारी सरकार एक्शन लेने में देर नहीं देगी। ये इसी कारण से हमारी सरकार की अपनी एक साख बनी है। मैंने इस बारे में निर्देश दिए हैं कि ऐसे और भी कहीं कोई हो तो हेल्थ डिपार्टमेंट उनके बारे में कठोर कार्रवाई करे।
जिस कथित डॉक्टर को लेके बात सामने आई है उसके खिलाफ एफआईआर हो गई है, जांच भी चल रही है, जांच की रिपोर्ट का इंतजार कर रहे हैं। एक बार प्रामाणिक रूप से ये साबित हो जाए जो आरोप लगाए गए हैं, उसके बाद जो भी कड़ी से कड़ी कार्रवाई होगी वो की जाएगी। कांग्रेस का आरोप निराधार है। बाई एंड लार्ज मध्य प्रदेश में स्वास्थ्य की सुविधाओं में काफ़ी विस्तार हुआ है। हमारे मेडिकल कॉलेज बने हैं, हमारे हेल्थ सेंटर बेहतर हुए हैं, जांच की दवाई की सुविधाएं जिले स्तर पर और उसके और नीचे भी पहुंचाने के लगातार प्रयास हो रहे हैं। नए पदों की स्वीकृतियां हो गई, उनकी भर्ती हो रही है। कभी कभी इस प्रकार के जो प्रकरण सामने आते हैं वो तुरंत पकड़ में आते हैं, उनके खिलाफ कार्रवाई होती है। तो हम अपना काम कर रहे हैं और स्वास्थ्य बेहतर से बेहतर लोगों को मिल सके ग्रामीण स्तर पर, उसके लिए भी हम प्रयास कर रहे हैं।
I want to go across to Manoj Sharma, who joins us with more details. Manoj, this is shocking indeed. How is it that this man, a fake doctor under false identity, was practicing surgeries, was performing surgeries? It's resulted in 7 deaths. What took so long to expose him, and were proper processes, procedures not followed? How is it that he enrolled through this renowned hospital without proper verification numbers on his documents?
You are absolutely right. This is very shocking. In fact, the role of the hospital is under suspicion. The hospital is alleged to have hired this doctor without properly checking his credentials, whether he was having a proper degree, whether he has got the registration. Because whosoever is the doctor here in any state, what to speak of Madhya Pradesh only, any state doctor has to practice only after getting proper registration from the government authorities. So he was practicing. He has been called up by this mission hospital in Damoh, and he has conducted so many surgeries, and of them we have also heard of casualties, at least 7 casualties. So that is why Madhya Pradesh Chief Minister has already announced investigation of the case, proper probe into this case, and after that we would come to know what was the modus operandi of this doctor, how he got connected to these hospitals, renowned hospitals, how he came here. So these are all this is matter of investigation, and that is what has been already ordered by the state government.
Oh yes, and the man in question, of course, absconding. So a lot that still needs to be found out in this absolute shocker coming in from Damoh in Madhya Pradesh. Manoj, thank you for joining us with that quick update. Heading into a quick commercial break for now. We'll be right back. Keep watching.
With the baton of power set to shift, Bharat's youth will drive the next wave of change. The biggest leaders and policymakers, global trendsetters, business icons, and entrepreneurs will come together to inspire the next generation of change makers. Don't miss your chance to witness it all live. Rising Bharat Summit 2025. Brought to you by
China, 67%. European Union, 39%. Vietnam, 90%. India, very, very tough. Very, very tough. They charge us 52%.
Well, at the moment, the market is reacting to the fact that there was no ameliorative or softer statement from the US or from President Trump over the weekend. On Thursday and Friday, the US markets fell over 10%. The Nasdaq is in bear territory, which means 20% off its highs. When an index falls over 20%, you call it bear territory. The expectation was that after seeing such a fall, which has happened only 3 times before in recent history, during COVID and during the 2008 Lehman crisis, if he doesn't respond to that, then is he likely to not pull back at all? That is the sentiment to which the Asian markets are reacting now. In addition, of course, there is the Chinese retaliation as well. So the markets here are reacting to the fact that there is no ameliorative statement. We will still have to wait and see. an ameliorative statement from the US president to any of the countries can still pull back the market somewhat. What the market is worried if there is a retaliatory statement even from the EU, then it's a global trade war. China has already called the war. So that's what the market is confused about. It was expected that big crash was the worst, but that didn't happen. It looks like there will be even worse in terms of Trump holding back, ready to take the immediate pain. His statement was that, some medicine is needed. That's the market's worry, really. It is going to get worse before it gets better. That's the first worry. The second worry is, even when it gets better, the world is going to grow much more slowly than what was expected before the Trump presidency. We are reacting to that. So even when we correct, we are not going to correct back to the previous levels because there is a global slowdown. Actually, only the developed countries and China who have retaliated. They are in a slightly stronger position than India is, than developing countries are. And so those are the two blocks that have retaliated. The rest of them are willing to come to any concessions. To be fair, even Canada is willing to come to concessions. But the Indian position relative to this issue is very strong. Our trade deficit, the important point is Trump is not going by your tariff levels. You can have 100-200% tariffs for all he cares, but don't have a trade deficit with my country, which is buy more from us and sell less to us. That's all he wants, which is India is in a position to do, because our trade deficit with him is only $40 billion or thereabouts, and one can easily buy more oil even if it's a little more expensive. And once the trade deficit comes down to about $10 billion, the tariffs on our products will come down. We will still have a 10% tariff, which he has announced on all countries, but we are in a much better position to negotiate, saying we will buy some more, and thereby, if you give him a commitment that we will bring down the trade deficit to $10 billion or zero by the end of this year, tariffs can come down. We are in a better position. But you must remember that that is not the only reason why the markets are falling. That will make things better for us. Markets are falling because we are not only selling to the US, we are selling to the world. And if the world is in a tighter place, in a worse place, then
Welcome back onto the world of sports. Let's talk about the dominant 7-wicket win of Gujarat Titans over Sunrisers Hyderabad. There was a power-packed performance on part of Gujarat Titans. Now, with this victory over Sunrisers Hyderabad, they have won 3 of the total 4 games played in IPL 2025. Unfortunately, a heartbreaking 4th loss for the Sunrisers Hyderabad. Here's a quick sum up in the special report.
In a match that had it all, fiery pace, elegant stroke play and a sensational homecoming, Gujarat Titans put on a clinical performance to thrash Sunrisers Hyderabad by 7 wickets at the Rajiv Gandhi International Stadium on Sunday. If there were ever a textbook template for a team performance, GT just authored it, with Shubman Gill, Mohammad Siraj and Washington Sundar leading the charge. Back on familiar turf, Mohammad Siraj brought the house down with a stunning spell of 4 for 17, silencing critics and leaving SRS top order in tatters. With fire in his belly and the roar of the Hyderabad crowd behind him, Siraj struck goal early, removing the dangerous Travis Head with a delivery that demanded respect, and followed it up with the wicket of Abhishek Sharma, who could not resist the temptation to go big. Siraj wasn't done. He returned to pick 2 more, Aniket Verma and Simarjit Singh, finishing with one of the finest spells in IPL cricket. It was raw pace, relentless aggression and pure emotion. Hyderabad witnessed a local boy write a blockbuster script. With the Titans in early trouble at 16 for 2, the spotlight turned to skipper Shubman Gill. Calm, composed and oozing class, Gill soaked in the pressure and staged a crucial 90-run partnership with Washington Sundar. Every shot from his blade was poetry in motion, from the crisp drives to the nonchalant flicks. Gill's unbeaten 61 of 43 balls was an exhibition of leadership through grace. Promoted at number 4, Washington Sundar played an innings that left fans gasping. Walking in under pressure, Sundar unleashed his full range, especially when poor Simarjit Singh bore the brunt. A horrific sixth over saw Sundar pounce with 2 fours and 2 sixes, shifting the momentum in a flash. His 29-ball 49 was a statement knock, missing a deserved 50 by just 1 run, but by then the damage was done. Just when SRH thought they had a window, Sherfin Rutherford slammed it shut with a blitzkrieg 35 not out of 16 balls, ensuring GT cruised home with 20 balls to spare. Earlier, it wasn't just Siraj. R. Sai Kishore and Prasidh Krishna kept the SRH batters guessing on a slow surface, combining guile and accuracy to choke the hosts. Klassen and Reddy tried to fight back, but Kishore's double strike in the middle overs crushed SRH's momentum. Following this defeat, Sunrisers Hyderabad have slipped down to 10th position on the IPL 2025 points table with 2 points and a net run rate of -1.629. Delhi Capitals, Gujarat Titans, Royal Challengers Bengaluru, Punjab Kings and Kolkata Knight Riders are the top 5 teams in the points table of IPL 2025. Gujarat Giants were not just better, they were dominant. From Siraj's searing spell to Gill's flawless knock and Sundar's firepower, this was a cricketing symphony conducted to perfection. Sunrisers Hyderabad, on the other hand, are staring down a difficult season with 4 losses in 5, while the Titans are roaring ahead with 3 wins in 4 and now with momentum firmly on their side.
Geopolitical changes are bringing a shift
in global equations.
और इस बदलाव में उभर रहा है
एक बुलंद भारत,
Riding the wave of youthful aspirations.
defining a new standard of growth and innovation.
और कैसी होगी ये बदलाव की लहर?
Know straight from the experts, the policymakers, world leaders
and industry titans.
जो करेंगे चर्चा इस नए वर्ल्ड ऑर्डर
और बदलाव की लहर की
At the Rising Bharat Summit,
the biggest convergence of leaders and trendsetters. On 8th and 9th April at Bharat Mandapam, New Delhi. Register now.
Welcome everyone. Thanks a lot for staying with us. You're watching Plain Speak with me, Shivani Gupta. The Centre versus DMK government face-off continues to grab headlines. There seems to be no end to the war of words. From the 3-language debate to the economic discrimination charge, from delimitation to tax devolution, DMK has opened a front on all accounts, which in itself is not a problem. The problem is this though, every time DMK raises an issue against the centre, which they are more vociferous in doing since 2014, there comes a side threat of separatism. Centre allegedly not giving enough funds. Why should we be